Hey YouTube, this is one knowing Damien Moody, also known as Kashmere. I'm back again with a live stream. Hold on. Before I do this, hold on. It's getting a little hot. Sorry about that, y'all. But it was getting a little hot. So I'm back again with another live stream and I wanted to do something. I know it's been a while since I've done the celebrity topics on my channel and stuff like that. But I figured since I'm not really doing much yet, I figured I'd get back to speaking my opinion on a lot of celebrity events and other events that has taken place through social media while I'm just scrolling looking through stuff. And the first event, which is in the title, the first incident that I want to talk about is I was on Instagram. I'm over here looking at my tablet, and I was on Instagram, and this is Instagram page called Spiritual Word, and they just did a post that said rapper Skrilla Baby stops mid performance during concert to address a gay man who touched and rubbed on his chest. No disrespect to you, bro. I don't even go that way. So it says Skrilla Baby was captured on video showcasing silent with an energetic performance of his chart-topping track "Bay." Women can be observed in the video reciting the lyrics and engaging in physical contact with his chest and body. Shortly after, a hand appears on the screen, reaching over the crowd to touch Skilla's chest and body. Skilla dismisses him and pauses the music to publicly confront the man who touched him. Skilla Baby has a strong preference for women when it comes to physical affection, as he values their touch and attention. It's important to note that his preferences do not align with being gay or having interest in men. So I don't know how to feel about the way they addressed this situation. Um, and this page is called Spiritual Word. So if anybody want to know what he looks like, this is pretty much the rapper Skilla Baby. I've never really heard of him. No disrespect to him, but I've never heard of him up until now, or I don't remember hearing of him. But this is pretty much what he looked like, and this is a post if anyone wants to see it on Instagram. And then they pretty much shows the video. Hold on. So that's pictures of the guy. Well, I guess that's supposed to be a guy hand touching his chest. Hold on. Oops, hold on. Hold on. Y'all pay attention. Now, my thing is, yeah, y'all seen the video, right? So, like I said, I mean, this is my first time hearing of the rapper. I don't remember hearing of him before. His name is Skilla Baby. I feel like with a lot of situations that happen now, mind you, I seen throughout the years, I've seen plenty of situations where these celebrities go to concert and they be performing on stage, whatever case maybe. In a lot of situations happen. A lot of different rappers, I shall say, since I'm speaking on the rapper, a lot of the rappers have these concerts where they have fans of all genders, all different races, all different religions, whatever the case, and everybody get hyped up and they want to get in contact with their favorite artists that's performing on stage, especially if you got like a small stage. Then it's a lot of people reaching out trying to shake your hand or give you a handshake or a pound or whatever the case may be. Then if you artist like him who's walking around showing your body, being shirtless, whatever the case may be, you got a lot of people at least trying to get you a handshake or excuse me, a handshake. A lot of women is feeling on him or whatever the case may be. And I guess he noticed that a guy hand reached out and was touching on him. And out of all the hands that's reaching out, he noticed the guy's hand and like, look, no disrespect. I don't go that way. He did it respectfully, but of course when everyone else on the stage is noticing what's going on, they're going to come off very disrespectful. And the crazy thing about it is, I feel like situations like this also happen when it comes to the baby situation. We all know how he was on Rolling Loud. He made a few comments, and a lot of people took it as homophobic, and they tried to cancel him because of a lot of things that he was saying during the performance, or whatever the case may be. And I mean, I don't know if it was a DJ or just other people he had on stage or whoever it was doing the commentary in the back. Um, at the end, I mean, at the end of the day, when I look at this post, I see that Skrilla Baby understands that he has a lot of fans. Of course, a lot of these people are paying money to see you perform. A lot of people fuck with your music. They fuck with you in the case, whatever the case may be. You, like I said, you got male fans, you got female fans, or whatever the case may be. So mm, I wasn't there, so I don't know if the guy did it purposely or not purposely, because everyone is reaching out trying to get in contact with this rapper, and a lot of women are touching on him. And just so happened, a male's hand reached out to his chest. Now, if all the hands touching, he eventually noticed the male's hand was like, and respectfully said, "I don't go that way." So now, it's a lot of comments. It's a lot of comments. So somebody named Duh_Wizard, who I actually follow. Who is this? Is it who is this? I follow this person. Is this Walter from Black Ink Crew? Yeah, I believe this is him. So the_Wizard on Instagram, who I believe is Walter from Black Ink Crew, said, "I'm so mad he had to say no disrespect because it's clear he was disrespected." So then there's a few people that said this with exclamation points. Another person said that part shaking my head. I'm _Terry 88 says straight violent beyond words. That's wildly disgusting. And then excuse me, then the wizard said if he would have went off, he would have been well within his rights, but they would have tried to label him homophobic afterwards. Yeah, he got put into a lose-lose situation. That was tough to watch. Bro handled it way better than me. Top Notch World said, "Why would a man think that's okay to even do that to another straight man? Then if it would, don't like and say no now. He homophobic." What? Top Notch World is anyway. So addressing these comments, I'm not gonna read all the comments, but but once again, I shall say there's a lot of events. You got different types of concerts. With a lot of these concerts, you don't have too many security guards. I'm pretty sure a lot of these artists have a lot of people on stage, or whatever the case may be. You got the DJ, you got the band, you got whoever on stage. I mean, who knows who's on stage with you? At the end of the day, during this concert, a lot of people, he's rapping, everybody hyped up. They probably was drinking, smoking. Who knows what these people doing in the audience? Everybody's hyped up. You got a lot of women who probably got like, and look, I don't know if they're sitting down or stand up. So you got a lot of women in the front. It's a lot of people reaching out, touching Skrilla Baby. And throughout all the people, as he's performing and he's hyped up himself, he fucking the song up. And um like I said, a lot of people is reaching out. And out of all the people that reaches out, he eventually knows that a guy hand is reaching out, touching him. And a lot of people, y'all like a lot of people get the fuck on my nerves because y'all be so quick to want. I mean, although this man was disrespected, because at the end of the day he's a straight male, and we understand that he's straight, his preference is women, and he was disrespected because at the end of the day it's true that the man had no right touching this man. Um, I mean, like, it was a handshake or something and cool, but of course, I don't disagree that you had no right touching this man, sexually touching his chest, just because you've seen everybody else doing it, who are all pretty much women. That's number one. But number two, at the end of the day, when you're an artist, I mean, you pretty much expect things like that, especially if you one of those artists doing these types of concerts where is free for that you hyped up, everybody to reaching out, touch you, trying to shake your hand, or you got women touching on your body, or whatever the case may be. You got some artists that like to jump out in the crowd and have the whole audience lifting them up. You, who knows? There's men in the audience, there's women in the audience, it may be children. I've seen plenty of artists jump out to the crowd. You don't know who's touching you. All you know is you just jumped out of the crowd. You got a lot of people lifting you up, moving you to the back, and then moving you back to the front so you could go back on stage. Men, women, who knows? Or you're being touched all over as you being carried. Not saying that this is what happened. Y'all seen the video. And it's fucked up that a lot of these people act like it's I don't have problems with gay people, or I don't have problems with trans people, whatever the case may be. But in a situation like this where this man's performing and a fan in the audience who may happen to be gay reach out and touch this man and he handled it respectfully, y'all expecting him to handle it disrespectfully, whoop this guy's ass, and then y'all want to say, oh, but he wouldn't be homophobic though if he whooped the guy ass, all because the guy touched him. Clearly it would be seen as homophobic, number one. And it's not just that the guy who touched him would have been wrong, which I would agree with, but you would have been wrong as well because you're artists, and when you do concerts like this, it's expected that things like this is going to happen, especially when in most concerts the audience don't ever get that opportunity to be reaching out, touching on whoever's on stage. I've seen a lot. I mean, you could just go on YouTube and you can see a lot of instances like this happen, where I could just speak of plenty of artists. Hell, even the women. Beyonce then had incidents like this where the audience get a little too carried away. I didn't seen I've seen DMX go through situations. I've seen Ti go through situations. I've seen plenty of rappers get. I mean, male rappers, not just by the men, by women as well. A female might get the opportunity to take a picture with a rapper, whatever the case may be, and you all grabbing on his private parts and stuff like that. There's a situation where the rapper The Game, I guess he was taking a picture with fans, and the lady tried to grab his crotch area. Then there's another situation that I've seen where I guess Ti was performing, and a guy in the audience grabbed his behind. I think that I don't know if there was a situation. I think that somebody was hugging DMX and grabbed him the wrong way or whatever the situation happened. But at the end of the day, I just feel like a lot of these people in the comments be the main ones expecting the artist to whoop ass or whatever the case may be, or do some wild shit or say some crazy shit. And then y'all want to scream, oh, he not homophobic. He should have whooped ass. He should have handled it differently. And then if he would have handled it differently, most of y'all same people that was suspecting him to whoop ass would have been the same ones in the comments also, oh shit, damn, he ain't had to do him like that. Da, 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 da. Like, people are weird. And for a page to be a page to be known as hold on. Chloe Belly actually look cute with this straight hair wig on. I don't see how the hell they get it flat on the head like that when she got dreads. But look cute. They did a good job. She really looks pretty. Now it seems like her and Chloe is doing these wig looks. Big happy birthday to T-Boz from TLC. Rest in peace. Shout out to Left Eye from TLC. Um, yeah, I just feel like it's a fucked up situation. Y'all be so quick to expect these artists to whoop ass, say some wild shit. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people agree with the baby when he did shit. At the end of the day, nobody touched him. Nobody did nothing to him. He was at Rolling Loud, and I guess he is in the mix of performance. And you know how they had their breaks, and they like to speak to the audience, whatever the case may be. At the Rolling Loud events, and many other concerts like Rolling Loud, a lot of artists will take their break and they interact with the audience and say a lot of wild shit because they just be in the mood, or it just be one of those moments. And a lot of his comments that he said were seen as homophobic, and it got to a point where people was trying to cancel him, and he had to go through some BS, and he pretty much had to apologize and all that other stuff like that. Then another thing that I remember is when Nipsey Hussle passed away. I remember a lot of people were not showing any, and I said this in the previous video. I remember a lot of people were not showing any sympathy for more so whatever you want to, I mean, however you want to put it, because of an Instagram post he pretty much made, which was seen as homophobic. And at the end of the day, I feel like, yeah, there's a lot of people who say homophobic stuff or post stuff that might be seen as homophobic. And me, myself, being part of the LGBTQ community, I look at it like this. At the end of the day, I got people in my family, I got friends that I hung around. I just got people I just know people in general who say a lot of things that I might see as homophobic. Or I just may see as disrespectful towards me and people like me. But at the end of the day, I can ignore it because at the end of the day, I feel like everybody is entitled to their opinion. It's just the way you state your opinion. Um, You're entitled to feel however you may feel about certain stuff. But that does not, but just because you have a different opinion does not give you the right to want to harm, to put hands on, to threaten, or in any way, shape, or form attack someone just because you don't agree with their life choices. That also includes if you are an artist and you're put in situations like that where you are performing and you're pretty much hyped up and the crowd is hyped up and a lot of people is reaching out to, I guess, get a handshake or whatever the case may be. And um you end up being touched. This also goes for a lot of artists that like to walk through the crowd and give handshakes to the people that bought tickets or whatever the case may be. This also goes to the artists that like to jump in the crowd. And I will repeat again to all the artists that, I'm not saying that Skrilla Baby did that, but to all the artists that do jump in the crowd, you don't know who's touching you. You don't. All you know is you're being lifted up by a bunch of different people that you have no idea who the hell they are. You just know that you got a lot of hands reaching up in the air and lifting you up. It could be children in that audience. It could be people of all ages in that audience. All you know is you just jumped in the audience. You got people lifting you up so you don't bust your ass in the ground. And some of these artists are the same ones that may say a lot of homophobic comments and stuff like that. Waka Flocka then had moments where he tried to jump in the crowd, and Waka Flocka have had moments where he came off as homophobic. Um, and he could jump in the crowd, and situations like that can happen. I just look at when it comes to situations like this, as an artist, you just gotta be careful because you just never know what can happen. Hell, most artists they might fuck around and do a ladies' night concert where they just expecting ladies to be there. Um, but yeah, situations like that happen. I just feel like it goes both ways. The artists gotta be careful, and these people in the audience gotta be careful because you just never know what situation you might get yourself into. Um, and what I respect about Skilla Baby is although people on stage were doing some commentary, doing a bit much, in my opinion, he handled it respectfully, and he said, "No disrespect to you, the bro." He's pretty much like, "I appreciate you being a fan. I fuck with the vibes. I accept you for being my fan, or whatever the case may be. But respectfully, I don't go that way." And he carried on with the performance. He didn't attack the man. He didn't say anything disrespectful. He just stopped him. He just stopped the perform. I mean, he stopped the music, addressed the man respectfully, and he carried on with his day or his night. Um, I'm trying to think. Then there was, other than that situation that happened when I was outside taking my niece to the bus, I was on Instagram and I seen this post about this Las Vegas teacher. It was a Las Vegas substitute teacher that got arrested for fighting with a student. Um, the crazy thing about it is, I'm glad that a lot of these schools is not playing when it comes to situations like that because nowadays, and even when I was going to school, there's a lot of schools that have that have moments where I guess they feel like that it's a hands-on school. And I understand a lot of these schools deal with students that got mental problems, they got anger issues, they got behavior issues, and whatever the case may be. And a lot of these students, they just have no chill but no respect. It's like it is what it is. I understand that, but at the end of the day, that's not your child. And no matter what that child done, there's plenty of ways to handle a situation. You have no right uh getting to the point where you're fighting a child, and now you're caught on video fighting this child when you're, especially when you're just a substitute teacher, and now you're locked up. I remember for years, no matter what type of school it is, I remember for years I went to school called the Delta School. It's a school in Philadelphia. It's on Woodhaven Road. For all my people that's in the Philadelphia area, some of y'all might know about the school if you live near the Franklin Mills Mall. I think it's called the Philadelphia Mall, or I don't know what it's called nowadays, but I heard years ago that they changed the name of that mall. Anyway, so like I said, some of you, because I tell a lot of people, they be like, "What high school did you go to?" Whatever the case may be, and I be like, "Delta." And they be like, "What's that?" Some people know about it, some people don't. Anyway, so at that school, the school says one thing, but as a student, you may be put in these situations where a lot of these staff members, especially the staff members that they call the maintenance men or behavior men or whatever the case may be, they done been putting their hands on students for years. I, as a student, I done went through it. Uh, they done had students that slam you on the ground. I mean, not students. They have staff members that slam you on the ground. They had, I done seen like real live action fights between staff members and students. I myself had to defend myself against both staff members and students. It's even to the point where, in a lot of these schools, let's just say you could be a student that's just having a bad day. You could be acting up in class, and in a lot of these schools nowadays, there are teachers who just don't care. They feel like if they can't hand you in the classroom, they would send you to a classroom with a lot of the older students, and they feel like if they can't hand you, if they're not in the mood to hand you, a lot of these staff members will put you in a classroom with the older students and allow the older students to handle you, however that may go, to scare you and I guess put you back in shape. And by the time you get back to the class and you crying because you didn't got attacked by a bunch of older students, and now they feel like, oh, so you pretty much learned your lesson. You could go back to the classroom, and now that you didn't got your ass whipped by the older students, you probably ain't gonna act up for the rest of the day. Um, I myself has been in that situation at school. It's like during my first several years in my younger years, and by the time I went to Delta, it's like, how old was I? How old was I? I had to be like, I had to be like 11, like 10 or 11 when I first went to Delta, because I went to Delta like late December 2000. So yeah, I had to be about like 10 or 11. And to be honest, I never heard of the Delta school. Never heard of it. Didn't know what type of school it was. I just knew that I went to plenty of schools. I had problems. I've been bullied. I done been in and out of school, in and out of school. I done been homeschooled. I done went to Dev Row. I done done a lot of different stuff in my younger years. So, like I said, by the time I got to Delta, I'm about like 10 or 11, and I'm getting out the car because I was homeschooled, and I had these two women that used to come to my house, I guess during the weekends or throughout the week, and they'd take me out. I might go to the library one day, they might take me out to eat the next, so they might just come to the house and speak to me for a couple of hours or so. Their names were Denise and Heather. I'm shocked after all these years I still remember their names. And then at one point it's just, I mean, one of them would just come. I don't know what happened to the other woman, but one of them just come. And then, like, if it's something important or if my mom need to go somewhere with us, then both women would show up. And then after Denise and Heather was done, some other woman who I don't even remember her name, but she used to drive a van. And she used to take me to the library to read books or whatever, do a couple activities, and then she'd drop me off home. But yeah, anyway, but by the time I got to Delta, I like I said, I had no idea what type of school it was. I was nervous because all I know is as I'm walking through the school, I didn't really see too many younger kids. All the kids looked like they shouldn't have been at that school. They looked like they was all grown. Um, so as I'm getting out the car, whatever the case may be, and y'all know, when your parents take you to school and you're about to be a new student, they pretty much just looking at schools and trying to figure out what's the right school for you. I don't know what everybody else was thinking, but as I'm walking through the school, I'm not sure if I'm going to be a student there because I'm pretty sure my mom and whoever else was with me during the time was just trying to figure out what would be the right school for me after I didn't left a few. What in the world? Oh man. Oh, the charger fell. Dang. Hold on. 'Cause I don't want the laptop to die. Mm, what the heck is this? Mm. Shit. I hate when this happens. Oops. So sorry, y'all. The laptop charger fell, and I had to put it in because the anyway. Whew. So anyway, like I was saying, I had no idea what type of school it was. All I know is I was nervous. I'm walking through the school. You got a lot of staff member introducing themselves to me, shaking my hand or whatever the case may be. Um, and I'm just looking around. And I'm just like, I know they're not about to try to put me in this school. I don't feel comfortable. All I see is older students. What am I doing in a school like this? I'm only like 10 or 11 years old. And this looked like a high school. These students look like they about 17, 18, maybe 19, 20. Is this school or jail? I already dealt with Devro. I already dealt with the shenanigans I had to deal with at community school, which was a school I went to before Delta. Um, I was at Bell Avenue for a short period of time, but that school wasn't doing nothing with me. I was just there in the classroom, and while the older students that was in the classroom, I was the youngest in the classroom, and there was a bunch of older students. They were doing work that I had no idea how to do, so they had just let me sit on the computer all day while the other students would do stuff. Um, and then by the time I came home, I wasn't getting no homework. They really did not know what to do with me. So my mom was like, "Oh, that's not the school for me." So everybody just pretty much trying to figure out what to do. So back to Delta, I'm trying to remember because it's a lot. I mean, that was years ago. So it was late December 2000, I believe. Um, I'm trying to remember. Okay, so it's late December, and I remember the first day I went. The first day I remember going to school. Um, the teacher aide name was Mr. Wilson. Rest in peace to Mr. Wilson. His name was Mr. Wilson. Then the actual teacher, I think her name was Miss Kennedy or something like that. It was something with Ken in it. Mr. Wilson was a dark skin. He was a dark skin. He was an African American guy, and I'm gonna just call her Miss Ken. Miss Ken was she was Caucasian, I believe. Um, a lot of the students that was in the classroom were pretty much teenagers. Most of them on the same bus. I mean, some of them was probably on the same bus as me. Um, and if I could fully remember, I believe the first time I went to Delta, I had to get on this little van. Didn't have too many seats. It was already pretty much full, and they're trying to pretty much squeeze me in so I could have a seat sitting next to a student who I later found out I was in the same classroom in. And he acted like he didn't want me to sit next to him. He had no idea who I was. I had no idea who he was. But somehow we on the same, I guess, van as you can say. And he's pretty much giving me the vibes like I don't want him sitting next to me, or I don't want to sit next to him, or whatever case may be. And I'm just looking like, why am I getting on this van? It ain't no seats. I'm not about to be on no lap seat stuff. I like, why am I even going to this school? It's so many schools I could go to in this neighborhood, and y'all trying to put me in a school that's far from where I live at. I live in Darby at the time. This school is all the way in North Philly. Anything can happen in this school, and it's going to take y'all a while to get to me because Darby is nowhere near North Philly. Um, it could be to the point where I could have got beat up, jumped, killed, and I'm all the way out in North Philly, and my family is pretty much in Darby. Um, but somehow I guess the bus aide and the bus driver they pretty much handled the situation. I was able to squeeze in on that little van. We made it to the school. Like I said, I end up realizing that the student that act like he didn't want to sit next to me, he ended up being in the same classroom as me. As I then got older and we've been in the classroom for a while, me and him eventually became cool. Um, but throughout the years, I still had to deal with a lot of tough situations being at the Delta school, and I was at that school from if I'm trying like I'm sticking to it because I fully believe that I was at that school from late December 2000 all the way to June of 2013. So that's about a good 12, probably like like 11, 12 years, maybe close to 13 years, depending on how you want to count it. Depending on however you want to count it. Um, I done went through the good. I done been at Delta for so long. I done seen the good, the bad, and ugly. Y'all done went through the good, bad, and ugly of being at that school. Like, if I could fully take the time to remember every single nook and cranny, y'all wouldn't even believe most of the stories that I have, and most of the it'll really take the time that I would have to really dig deep and really think about every nook and cranny that used to happen at that school. And if I really was that type of person that had a good enough memory to remember everything, I'm telling y'all would not believe the stories I got when it comes to that school and the people I met at that school. People that I might talk to, might not talk to. Like, it is cool, crazy. And it's not even just with the students. It's the staff as well. Some of these staff members I was cool with. Some of them I might not been cool with at first, and then as I got older, I eventually became cool with. Some of these staff members I've been cool with uh for a while. Same goes with students. Um, the type of student I was. When I first went to Delta, I was scared. I ain't never gonna lie. I was young. I was scared. Like I told y'all, I was pretty much in the situation where it's a lot of people that's older than me, and I'm just like this young newbie, like I was in a juvenile center or something. It was pretty much the fresh meat situation. Now I'm pretty sure y'all all know what fresh meat is. The term, what the term fresh meat meant. So you pretty much is young newbie in the classroom. You got a lot of old, like none of the students is near your age. Everybody's pretty much older than you. And by the time that you realize that now it is students that's around your age that and students that may be younger than you older and still dealing with the situations. But anyway, I'm just at this point, I'm just speaking on like the first beginnings, like the early stages of me being a Delta student. And like like although we had the bus situation the first day that I remember going to Delta, everything was good at first. Everybody being nice to you because you're a new student. They trying to they trying to pretty much introduce themselves to you and get you to open up and introduce yourself to them. I'm this shy student, not really want to talk to anybody because I don't know anybody. I'm still trying to click in my mind. What am I doing at this school? This school is not for me. My brothers and other relatives of mine is going to better schools than this one. There's so many schools close to where I live at. Why am I all the way in North Philly and my family is pretty much in Darby? Like, I had so many thoughts in my mind, but the biggest thought was, what am I doing at the Delta school? Um, like I said, the gym teacher was nice. Uh, uh the teacher and the teacher aide, they was nice at first. Um, I did have a few issues throughout. I mean, with other staff members and stuff like that. Not everybody was giving off the nice vibes. Um, Delta didn't change throughout the years. Staff then came and went, students then came and went. So yeah, Delta didn't have plenty of changes. Um, dang. It got to a point where like I don't even really remember my first teacher like that. She was one of those type of people that does a coming. was a come and go. As for Mr. Wilson, he was at the school for a while. He didn't see me in the beginning of me going to Delta all the way to the point where I'm damn near grown. Me and Mr. Wilson's bond was not always the best. Mr. Wilson, like I said, rest in peace to Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson was the type of staff member where I can't speak for everyone else experience with him, but me myself, he was one of those people that I could be cool with, but he was very strict with his job. And I'm guessing that he probably worked at detention centers. He probably worked with a lot of people, and there's times where he would really have us in the classroom telling us stories about people he been around, people that pretty much was shot and killed. He didn't even brought I don't know what type of jobs he had. Like he didn't brought us pictures of like different situations he was around, and it would just have us in the classroom like, what the fuck? I'm telling you, it was serious. Me personally, I do believe that Mr. Wilson was a person that probably worked. I don't know if he worked with police or if he worked at a group home or a detention center or something like that. But the vibes he would give was like that strict fatherly vibe. Like he understands that he's a teacher, but he also give off that vibe where like this is a school with a lot of different students. You got students with behavior problems, mental problems, health problems, medical problems, all types of issues. In a lot of these students, they're cuckoo. So he's pretty much one of those people that if he got to slam you in the ground, if he got to attack you, or if he got to give you that strict, crazy Joe Jackson father type vibe, he don't give a damn. And I was one of the victims that had to deal with it. Although me and him did have a close bond. Um, it was so crazy that I even nicknamed him Dad because that's pretty much what he acted like. Now I didn't call him that all the time, but we had our own bond, and sometimes I would pop off and call him Dad, and sometimes it was Mr. Wilson. He's been my teacher aide several times. He's been my teacher several times, and I still had that bond with him. Although they didn't switch him around throughout the years. One minute he was a teacher aide, he was a teacher. Then he was like, who knows? Mr. Wilson was the staff member that just got along with everybody, and they just was flipping him from classroom to classroom to classroom. And every time I see him, it was, "What's up, Mr. Wilson?" Even to the point where I had a close bond with his son because when I was younger, his son and a few other people worked at the school, but I don't know what happened. They was there for a while and then they just left. And then years later, as I got older, and I'm pretty much like probably like 19 or 20, Mr. Khalil, who was Mr. Wilson's son, he ended up coming back to the school. And the crazy thing about it is when he came back, I don't know if I was going to the gym or if I was going somewhere, but we was walking through the hallway. And most of the time, like in the building that I was in, they got different sections. They got the back section where all the students could be at, and then they switched the front section where all the staff would be at, and they didn't allow most of the students to go in that section. They even switched a lot of the classrooms out that section and turned them to a counselor room and whatever else throughout the years. But some way, us students will still find ways to go through that section. So, like I said, I don't know what subject I was going to. I don't know if I was going to gym, if I was going to art. I don't know what I was doing, but I do remember seeing him sitting in the hallway by the front desk where a lot of the parents and staff members that's probably trying to look for a job or whoever was sitting. And I knew he looked familiar, but at the end of the day, we both are older now. This is not the little old Damien from what I remember him as. But I was just thinking in my head. I wasn't saying it out loud, but as I'm looking, I'm just thinking in my head like he kind of looked familiar. And then it got to the point where he just kept staring at me, like peeking over at me. I'm just still in my head, getting peeks out, looking at him like I think I know him. He looked familiar, but I'm still trying to keep my mind in the next subject that we go into. Anyway, so about a good couple minutes to an hour later, I hear, can someone bring Miss Damian Moody to the principal office? So I'm thinking like, what the hell did I do now? I ain't never do nothing. What the fuck are they calling me at the principal office for? It better be something good. Not thinking in my head like, oh, you do know that man. So I guess he like, oh, I guess he must have told him like, I mean I seen a student that I remember that I had a close bond with. Or I don't know what he might have said to them. I never asked. But I guess he let the principal and a lot of people know that he knew me. Out of all the students that he probably remember, he pretty much picked me for whatever reason. Maybe because of the bond he knew I had with his father, Mr. Wilson. And the crazy thing about it is we didn't say nothing. All I know is we just kept staring at each other. Like he was staring at me. I'm trying to think if I knew him or I was mistakenly knowing him, and it probably was somebody else that just looked like him. I don't know. Anyway, so they called me in the principal office. I don't even remember who I was in the principal office, but I just remember seeing him. So I'm like, then it kept clicking in my mind, like, oh, he is familiar. So in my mind, as they were telling me who he was, I'm staring at him and he just sitting there staring at me, and I'm like, oh, you're Mr. Wilson's son, right? And he like, yeah. And I'm just saying, wow, because from what I remember, I just remember that Mr. Wilson passed away or whatever the case may be, and I didn't expect anybody to come back, especially not his son. So now that his son coming back, and now all the students that he may have remembered who still went to school, he chose me, and now they're asking me if he's good enough to work. I'm like, sure. They like, do you know him? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you're Mr. Wilson's son, right? And he like, yeah. And I just kept saying like, wow, wow. 'Cause I'm like, damn, I remember him from because I don't know what he like. I don't know if he was thinking anything from my reaction, but I just remember just staring. I just kept saying like, wow, wow. And Dad's like, do you know him? I'm like, yeah. He's the son of my first teacher aide. And I guess he ended up getting a job, and from that moment on, they put him in the same classroom as me, and he was there for a while until I guess he found a better job. I guess it was to that point where it's like Damien getting older now. I mean, like I thought that Delta would be a good job. I'm shocked that it was one student that I remember from the last time I worked here. I don't know. But yeah, I heard that after a while working there, he found a better job, and I guess he didn't want to work at Delta no more. So he said his goodbyes, whatever the case may be. But that's one staff member I remember that came back. And the other staff members that I guess tried to come back. I don't know. There's a lot of stories I got about Delta, but majority of my reason even talking about Delta is the fact that yeah, Delta was one of them schools where the staff members put their hands on students. And a lot of us had to pretty much defend ourselves against these staff members. And when the staff members realized they couldn't handle us, a lot of us younger students end up having to be put in the classrooms with the older students because a lot of the staff members were different and handled their classrooms differently. And when it comes to situations like that, where, like I said, the staff members felt like they couldn't handle the students, they put these younger students in the classroom with the older students and feel like that it's okay for these older students to pretty much rough the younger students up. So when they did decide to put you back in your regular classroom, you'll be back to the point where you're respecting your teacher there because you know that now if anything like that ever was to happen where you acting up and showing your ass, this is what's going to happen. But then again, that was still because you still had to deal with being in this chart called the Delta room, where I guess it was a room that it was a chart they put you in when you acting up, and you'll probably be there for hours. And when you're in the Delta room, that meant that any point that you were supposed to be taking for participating in activities such as math, social studies, gym, art, music, business, computer room, whatever you're doing, you're not getting nothing. So you're pretty much getting zeros the whole time you in this Delta room. And you're just pretty much in this trailer. It's three separate rooms. Um and it's one trailer. You got this big wide room which pretty much had nothing there. They eventually put like a gym mat in there for whatever reason. But it's this big room and you're just pretty much standing there, or you could sit on the floor. And then you got one room with security cameras so the behavior staff could see if anything is happening throughout the hallways. And a few of the staff members were sitting here. Then it's the big section where all the students be at. They might allow you to sit in a small room with some of the behavior staff, but majority of the time you're in this big empty room by yourself. Then they had another section in the trailer where I guess that was just a personal private room for the staff members. I guess where they put their lunch at or what, I don't know what the hell they do in that room. Um but yeah. And then when the trailer was occupied, they tried to empty out one of the classrooms and make that the Delta room up until they fixed the trailer. I guess because the squirrels was, and the possums and stuff and raccoons and stuff was eating through the floors or whatever may have happened. I have no idea. Um, but yeah, a lot of the students will have to deal with ass whoopings daily from students and staff members in that room throughout the years. Um, Other than that, a lot of the classrooms in the F building, because like I said, our school had different buildings for different reasons. Most of the time, my classrooms was throughout the classrooms in the F building. And in the F building, you had classrooms where you got the classroom, and then every classroom had this office, which pretty much was the teacher's personal office. But most of the times, when the students didn't want to be bothered with other students for whatever reason, or if you need some time to cool out and chill out by yourself, sometimes they let the students sit in the back office by themselves. Or sometimes when the students are in the mix of doing assignments, if the teacher ain't sitting in their desk, they probably sit in the back office, or that's probably where the teacher aide would sit, or who knows. Um, yeah. But the back office and plenty of these classrooms were the offices where a lot of attacks on the students would happen. Um, so I'm very glad that nowadays, with a lot of these situations that's happening, where the staff members are attacking the students, or the students are attacking the staff members, or whatever the situation may be, I'm very glad that nowadays that these schools are in certain areas is taking it seriously to the point where they're getting the police involved. Because when I was in school, it's whatever happened, and then you'll have to survive to be able to go home and tell your parents or whoever about it. And then it even got to the point where a lot of these parents ain't play those games, and they would come to school to handle the staff members that pretty much attacked a child. And then in most cases, these children would get older and they would fight back. And then it gets to the point where now eventually now they want to call the police, and a lot of these students and brought weapons to the school, and they was in school suspension, and whew, I'm telling you, Delta was crazy. Like, it's certain stories that I ain't even gonna speak on because I don't want to get the story all mixed up and blah blah blah. But yeah, I will say that there were moments where students had brought weapons to the school. I done been in that school and seen people have seizures. I done seen fights to the point where there's blood almost everywhere. I done seen the most crazy. I done have seen and witnessed the most craziest situations when it comes to the time I first went to Delta School all the way up to the time I left the Delta School and never looked back. And that had to do with staff as well as students. And the Delta School is pretty much where I spent most of my life. Out of all the schools I went to. Don't get me wrong. I ain't gonna make it seem like Delta School was the worst school ever, because don't get me wrong. I've had a lot of friends that I made. I had times where I went to school and my day was wonderful. I had days where I was happy to go to the school. But then again, I can say that Delta School was a school that I wish I never did go to, no matter how many happy days I may have had. Because the crazy days and that was a lot more than the happy days. And if I had the opportunity, I would have never went to the Delta School. The Delta School is like a damn prison. Now, um, I don't remember all the staff members' names because, like I said, I've been at school for years, so staff members came and went. So I'll give y'all a list of some of my favorite people. Um, Now I mean, I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, like I said, my memory is not all the best, and like I said, staff members came and went. So I would try to give y'all a list of people that I remember that I was cool with. I mean, I ain't never got time to speak on the people I wasn't cool with. Um, when I first went to school, I'm trying to remember. When I first went to school, I was cool with my principal. Her name was Miss Hope Shingles. She was a pretty cool principal from what I remember. I don't really remember too many problems with her. Um I'm pretty sure there were, because I done had my good days, I done had my bad days. It's just that I don't remember. At this time of my life, I don't really remember. Um Out of all the principals I had, I can say that Miss Shingles was someone that had my back most of the time. Um And she, like I said, she was the first principal I ever had going to the Delta school. Um, any other principal I had after Miss Shingles, mm, I mean, I didn't probably have my cool moments with them, but yeah. Mr. Wilson was my first teacher aide in the first classroom I ever went to. And he was a teacher and teacher aide throughout my early years of being a Delta student. Like a lot of classrooms they put me in, he was always in them. And like I said, it got to the point where the bond that me and Mr. Wilson had, I used to nickname him Dad because that's pretty much what he acted like. He was cool and we had a friendly bond, but he was kind of like the Joe Jackson of Delta School. You know, I'm not the only student that's seen Mr. Wilson's bad side. Like I said, he was like the Joe Jackson. Uh, hmm, I'm trying to remember. Few behavior staff that I didn't like at all, and then you got behavior staff that I was cool with. I just don't remember everybody's name. It's gonna take me a while. During my early stages of being a Delta student, there was this one staff member. He was a what they call it, a TSS worker or 101. How do you put it? I mean, he came to the school and worked in the school, but he was one of those. He pretty much was there for one student and one student only. His name was Mr. Rubin, and he was pretty much there for this student by the name of Justin Cooks, who was in my classroom. From what I remember, Justin Cooks, when I first went to the school, he was chubby. He was real dark skinned, chubby. I mean, I don't want to make it seem like I'm coming at him the wrong way or trying to diss him or whatever the case may be, but I'm just trying to remember and pretty much describe. Um, because I never had no problems with it. I'm just pretty much trying to use my memory to describe like what I remember throughout the school. And I do remember that he had diabetes, and a lot of staff members would pretty much confront him about certain stuff that he tried to eat that he knew he wasn't supposed to be eating. I do remember that very well. And he was in my classroom for a while. And he always thought a lot of stuff was funny. Most of the time it'd be stuff that wasn't funny that pretty much should have been taken seriously. He might chuckle at, but a lot of people ain't really get too offended by it. Um, but yeah, he had this guy by the name of Mr. Rubin who worked at the school, and he pretty much was cool with a lot of the staff members at the school. I do know that him and Mr. Wilson was cool because, like I said, Mr. Rubin was in the classroom just like Mr. Wilson was in the classroom because Mr. Rubin was pretty much working with Justin. And sometimes when Justin was absent, Mr. Rubin would still come to the school, and somehow me and him became cool. And it's crazy because I don't speak on him a lot, but now it's clicking in my head like certain stuff that I remember about him. I think he was mixed. I think he was either Dominican and black or Puerto Rican and black, but I do think he was mixed. I do know that he used to talk in English a lot, but most of the time I catch him talking in Spanish. And I also remember that I used to curse a lot and be angry, and he kept on talking about somebody remind him of his. I think he said remind him of his wife or his. I don't know. He said remind him of somebody because I used to curse and I had a real crazy attitude and ain't care. Um, and when he said it, I was looking like, huh? Like how I remind you of a female? But then he pretty much explained that it's my cousin that made him give me that comment. Anyway, but yeah, he was cool. And I also remember this one time I was real sick and I was throwing up. I wasn't feeling well, kept going to the nurse office. And I had students picking on me because like I said, I was a young buck in the class with a lot of older students that used to bully me and pick on me. And I remember one time it was recess and I'm pretty much sitting at the bench because I can't do nothing. Like I am sick. And I'm surprised that he was sitting as close as he was to me. I didn't want to get him sick, so I'm just sitting by the bench, laying my head down there on the table, arms wrapped around my head like this. The sunlight was by me. Everything was by me. I'm trying not to throw up. I'm trying not to sneeze. I'm trying not to cough. Like I was super, super sick to the point I don't even know why I was at school. I wasn't feeling good. And by this time, I used to be like, I don't know what was wrong with me. I used to be throwing up a lot, getting headaches, all types of stuff would happen. And a lot of people think, oh, Damien faking. He just don't want to participate. But no, I was really, really getting sick. And I don't know where it be coming from. I be good one minute, then next minute, no, I'm throwing up. And they over here calling my parents to see if anybody gonna pick me up. So anyway, I do remember one day, I was shocked because I mean, like he was cool and all. I mean, we in the same class every day, and I see you every day. But I never thought that he was the type of person that come up to me, and although he's supposed to be focusing on one student, he's focusing on me. So I remember sitting there by myself, and he just coming up to me like, I mean, like we are just talking. He pretty much like, I got your back. If you need anything, just let me know. And like we had an okay conversation, whatever the case may be. I don't remember the full conversation because like I said, I wasn't feeling well. But he pretty much was like, if you need anything, just let me know. And from that moment on, we just became cool. And every time I go in, I'm like, "What's up, Mr. Ruben?" La, 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 and that was that. I had that type of bond with a lot of staff members that came and dealt to school where one minute I didn't know how to feel about them because I didn't really know them like that. And then after a while, like, I just started really getting cool. It's crazy because I really was that person where I don't know how I feel because it'd be a lot of staff members that just come to school and I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this person. Like I see you walking through the hallways, whatever the case may be, and then next thing you know, and it's like we the best of friends. Um, Male and female. I had this one teacher named Miss Rhodes, Rhodes. I believe she might have been Muslim, but she was one of the type of women that she might wear something that make you think she Muslim, and then the next she might be wearing regular clothing. I do remember her mentioning that she was married to a Caucasian male because I guess I made a comment and said something that triggered her the wrong way. But at the end of the day, by them times, you had a lot of guys that used to be very flirtatious with the female staff members. And I'm not stupid. I'm not boo the fool. Although a lot of it is not my business, I catch on to a lot of stuff very well. And there were times where I'll be one of them students that I don't hold my tongue. If something don't look right or something ain't going right, and you piss me off and get me to that point, like I said, I didn't hold my tongue. That's why a lot of staff members like me, because I wasn't scared to speak my mind. And this came out their mouth. Like out of all the students, a lot of their staff members click on me because I was one of them students that just wasn't afraid to speak my mind, and I wasn't sugarcoating anything. It is what it is. However it come out, oh well. Um, Miss Rose was my teacher for a while. I may have mentioned her on my YouTube channel before because I remember I had this. This is around the time. This probably had to be like 2002, 2003. I don't know, but anyway, I was in Southwest Line. I was in between I lived in Darby, but I used to be in Southwest Line as well. At my great grandparents' house, or my aunt and niece who lived up the street from my great grandparents' house. And my aunt and niece, she's not blood family, but her family and my family lived in the same neighborhood and they all got along, however the story may go. And she just been around for so much. Now it's like, although we may not be blood, that's still family. And every time I see you, you gonna be auntie, and this is my cousins, no matter what. Like, like even if it's family members, I don't know if yours. Like, if when we see each other, that's auntie. You gonna be treated just like you blood family. Still to the day, even though we probably, I mean, we probably ain't see each other in a while. Still to the day, I could go and that's auntie. Anyway, so she lived up the street with her children and her father, and they had this box of magazines. Well, her dad had this box of magazines in the basement from all type of hip hop magazines, and in this box he had the Playboys, and I'm pretty sure he knew that a lot of the kids that wasn't even supposed to be looking at magazines like that, they'd be digging in that box. So I know I was, because, like I said, I'm a music person. I love music. I love celebrities and stuff like that. And I like to read Vibe magazine, Source magazine, and stuff like that. So one day I'm just in the basement looking through the magazines, and my aunt and my cousins, and they like, oh, those dad's magazines. So I asked, can I have some? And I don't mind nobody really digging that box anyway. That box just there. Now, of course, of course, we get in trouble trying to look at the Playboy magazines. But then again, it didn't make no sense, because I do remember that they had this big poster of this naked black woman with her titties and coochie out. and she had this big afro. But after the years, they took the poster down. I don't know where they get those posters from, but a lot of the houses in that neighborhood and had that poster of that black naked woman with the afro. But as the kids kept coming, they had to take it down so the kids won't be looking at titties. Anyway, so he like so they was like dang, I mean he didn't care because nobody really digged that box anyway. And he knew I'm the only person that was interested in the magazines. So I'm going through magazine to magazine, looking at articles of Aaliyah, ripping all the pictures of her out, folding them up, putting them in my pocket. Cause by the time I got to school, I was gonna make this big Aaliyah collage with all her pictures and articles and stuff about her. So not to mess the collage up or to get or any of my famous messing up my collage, I end up ripping the pictures out, folding them up, and putting them in the Ziploc sandwich bag so I could take it to school. And when I get to art class, I can make the collage. I had these pictures in my desk in this collage for a while. So one time, Miss Rose was getting on my nerves. A lot of the other staff members was getting on my nerves. The students started getting on my nerves. They're trying to make me do an assignment that I kept telling them I don't understand, I don't know how to do. So I started doing my own thing. When they kept on trying to force me to do an assignment I didn't know how to do, I started doing something else. Now, mind you, out of all the staff members that I done met at the Delta school, Miss Rose, out of plenty of staff members, she knew that I loved me some Aaliyah. And I'll talk about Aaliyah a lot. She no. Now y'all see how I said how people say her name Aaliyah, and then I also said Aaliyah, which is the correct way of pronouncing her name, right? Anyway, she knew I love me some Aaliyah. And she even teased me about it. Like, that boy love him some Aaliyah. Every time I see him, he got a picture of her, or he's talking about her, la la la. Aaliyah, Janet Jackson, Lil Kim, a few people, but it was mostly Aaliyah. Um, she or teased me bringing her friends to school, like, oh, Damien, don't she look like Aaliyah? Uh, anyway, so it got to the point where I was irritated. I wasn't participating. I pulled the collage out, and I was about to give me this big cardboard, colorful poster board and some glue so I could glue my collage together. Why did this woman throw all my Aaliyah articles away that I done got from Mr. Ruff, my Auntie's dad? I done begged him to get those magazines. Him and my cousin them told me that it's okay because nobody digging that box anyway. The box been there for years and nobody really digging it. I'm the only one that's interested in those magazines. That's why Dad left them there because they know every time I come to the house, that's the first place I go. Is to those magazines. Anyway, but yeah, when it came to mom and dad, my great grandparents' house, I was going upstairs to go watch cable, watch music videos. When it came to Aunt Denise's house, if it wasn't watching videos and playing my cousins and stuff, I'd probably be down the basement digging in the magazines. Um, so yeah, Miss Rose ended up throwing my Aaliyah collection away and threw it in the trash. I snapped the hell out. I mean, I was so mad. I'm tossing desks on the floor. I don't care who desk is. I'm just tossing stuff on the floor. Like I was so mad. All the stuff that they used to do to me in that classroom. That day, I went ballistic. I was in trouble for a long time after that day. Damn, I done got the wrong earphones. I'm gonna have to go back to Poppy. These the wrong earphones. Oh my god. Yep, I am. I'm gonna have to go back to Poppy. Cause my sister gave me a couple of dollars and my phone can't take regular earphones when I'm outside riding a bike or taking my walks. I like to listen to my music, and I don't want everybody listening to the same music I'm listening to. But I'm thinking that these earphones is the right ones to go to my phone. And now I'm about to have to walk to Poppy and take them back because they're the wrong earphones. And I cannot put these in my phone. Dang. What time is it? It's 11.